Hello everyone, and today I'm going to show you how to make dulce de leche bars. So to get started with the ingredients, we're going to need 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to sneak in some whole wheat pastry flour just so it could be more healthier, but you can just leave it out and do all-purpose flour. Then we'll need 1 1/2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 7 tablespoons of butter, cold cut into cubes, like 1/4 inch, and 1 egg yolk, and 2 1/2 tablespoons of ice water. This is for our crust. And for the crumb and for the inside, we're going to need about 2 cans of dulce de leche. And we're going to need about 1 cup of old-fashioned oats, 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, which is we have right here. You can either use all-purpose or whole wheat pastry flour. It will work just fine. Then we will need 2/3 cup of brown sugar, some pinch of salt, and 1/2 cup of this is 1/2 cup of cold cubed butter. So let's get started. So first in the bowl, we're going to add the 1 1/4 cup of flour, the sugar, and the salt. And we're just going to whisk it a little bit. Just enough for it to get together. Just like so. And in here is the ice water, and I placed in the egg yolk only. Don't put in the egg white. So now we're going to use a fork and mix this a bit. Now we're slowly going to pour this mixture into our flour very slowly and mixing. So I'm going to need 2 of my hands for this. Okay, and as you can see, it's now like crumbly. Okay, and so here I shredded some butter. So now we're just gonna, if you want, you can use a pedal attachment and roll this to a dough, or you can use your hand and form this into a dough. So however is easier to you. Okay, so here is my dough. I used the pedal attachment. So now you're gonna need a 19 by 13 inch pan, and I line with some wax, or you can use parchment paper. And so we're gonna thinly roll this out so it could be a thin layer. But before we're gonna put it out on the pan, just prepare the pan. Don't like spread it out. We're gonna kind of flatten this and put it into a plastic food wrap. We're gonna refrigerate this pastry dough for about 30 minutes in the refrigerator before we do anything. Okay, so the dough has cooled. We're going to take it apart, and it became hard. So we're just going to kind of like use our hands and kind of like, you know, put it into a ball again. And then we're going to use a rolling pin and roll this out, or however you find it easier. So let's do that, and we're going to spread it very thinly across this pan. Okay, so here I rolled it out. So now let's do our next step, is to bake it. Okay, so we're going to put this dough to bake on 350 Fahrenheit for about, until it's kind of slightly golden, because we kind of want this to cook through before we put our stuff. So, I don't know, until it's kind of like golden. Alright, while our crust is baking, we're going to prepare our little crumble. So we're going to add in the oats, the sugar, the flour, and the salt. I'm just going to mix this up with a spoon. And while I'm putting everything in here, I like to put the butter into the freezer so it could be extra cold, because like I say, crusts love cold, and anything like crumble, same thing. So mix it up. I'm gonna get those brown sugar to separate. So yeah, just mix it up, and let's put in our cold butter. Okay, so here I shredded the frozen butter. So now we're just gonna either use our hands or a spoon, and well, hands is probably better. We're just gonna crumble this up because it's gonna be a crumble, and we're gonna refrigerate until we're ready to use. And if you're ready to use it right away, use it right away. So, and I took out my crust, and I'm just gonna let it cool for now. And our crumble is all done. So here is my partially baked crust. So now we're gonna use our dulce de leche, mix it up a bit so it won't be too chunky, and let's spread it around evenly. Okay, so here we are. I used the 2 cans to fill this up. So the crust I cooked for about 10-15 minutes. It kind of needs to be cooked because you don't really need to cook dulce de leche. It was already cooked. All we need time is for this to cook, so which won't be too long. So yeah, and I placed this. Now we're gonna sprinkle our crumble everywhere. Oh boy, this looks already so good. So let's just do it everywhere and put it to bake on 350 until the top is done baking. So that's our focus on right now. All right, so let's then put it to bake. Alrighty, so this is done. Just as you can see, it took about maybe 15-20 minutes. As you can see, it's now golden and it's still bubbly. So right now, our important step is for wait to cool, let it cool completely let it cool off before we cut it into pieces.